Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brewing with Jim.
And hello, everybody, from me, too. I'm Jim.
I am Joseph.
Yeah.
I am the question asker, and I am the co-host, but you're why we're here, Jim.
No, stop it.
Your name is on the, your name's on the cover. Your name's in the title.
It is, but I didn't put it there.
We didn't call it Brewing with Joseph.
No, I didn't call it Brewing with Jim either.
No, that's fair.
Another producer decided that, but we work together here. And
yeah, absolutely. This is a show where we get questions from our audience, and then we just try to provide advice and insight into their situations and hopefully help them out. So
right.
We have another question today from an audience member, and it's a good one. It's as we record this, it's April. It is the season for
taxes.
Taxes is one thing. That's right. But it's a season for a lot of our students here at CVCS and other schools, of course, for college applications and college acceptance and things like that. The question this week is simply, do I have to go to college? And maybe in parentheses, we can add to that the question, is college worth it? So this is a big old broad topic.
Okay,
and we can go in a lot of directions, but where does your heart lead?
Well, is it my heart? My brain just right away says no. You don't have to go to college.
Yeah.
But is it worth it? I don't know what it is. We have to decide what it is. Is it worth it and worth the money that's spent to go to college? Let's dive in, and I don't have any real direction here, but let's dive in. Yeah. A lot of people are pressured to go to college because their parents want them to go to college, not only college, but a, quote, good college, whatever that means.
Sure.
And I think that in compliance with parental pressure, and maybe friends, people decide to go to college without asking this brutal, important question. It's not brutal, but this important question.
It is.
There are hundreds of thousands of jobs waiting for people to apply to them who have not gone to college. They do not require a college degree.
That's right.
And some of them pay a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So if your desire, speaking to the questioner, is to make a lot of money, you can do that without going to college. And I'll talk about a couple of jobs, or two or three, or a bunch of groups of jobs that are available for that. If the desire is to have enough money to be comfortable and not live paycheck to paycheck, I am differentiating that from a lot of money.
Of course.
Yes, you can do that without going to college.
Yeah, absolutely.
A college degree will not necessarily shoo people into a career position that is financially beneficial. It won't do it.
Absolutely.
I suppose if somebody wanted to own their own law firm, a law degree from Harvard might be nice, or from Yale. It might be nice. Let's talk about the benefits of going to college, and I don't know, what should we do first, Joseph? We talk about the benefits of going to college, or we talk about the benefits of not going to college.
Yeah.
The benefits.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Is that okay? The benefits of going to college can be to hone a person's critical thinking skills.
Yes.
So that they know how to argue, that is, to persuade people to their position without logic fallacies. You don't learn that in a trade school.
That's right.
You learn that in college.
Yeah.
And you can learn it without going to college. YouTube, the University of YouTube, it will help you with a lot of stuff like that. That's right. But in order to practically learn how to think correctly, I think that requires a classroom of people who want the same goal and an instructor who knows how to get to that goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's a benefit. That's a very big benefit.
Yeah.
Other benefits are, this is a cliche, but it's the college experience.
That's the biggest thing.
I really don't know what that means unless it's lots of beer and a fraternity and just that whole social scene, which can be really detrimental to any kind of development. It doesn't have to be. No.
That for me was probably like the most significant part of my college, or the one of the more beneficial parts of going to college, completely seriously, is moving away from my parents, gaining some independence, both in terms of decision making, eyes over my shoulders.
I see that as a benefit.
And financial, independence of. I started making my own money for the first time in college.
Right.
It wasn't a lot. It was literally like a couple $100s a month because it was an on-campus job. But even just having a couple $100s a month to, spend on yourself, or, if you want to go out to eat with friends or something, for what it's worth, I did not drink in college at all. That just wasn't a part of my college experience. It was such a positive experience that for me, that is like one of the more significant parts of, I could not imagine how my life would be different if I didn't have the college experience I did. I feel like it made me a lot of who I am.
It sounds to me, listening to your college experience, that it was mostly beneficial and not detrimental
it's tremendous.
to development.
Yeah.
I had a college experience too because I went to Texas Tech University, but I grew up in Lubbock, and Lubbock is the home of Texas Tech University. So
there you go.
It's just the local school.
It's kind of right there.
But it's a huge university.
Yeah.
I didn't drink in college. No one did because Lubbock was a dry precinct, and there wasn't any available at that time.
Yeah.
That's not true now.
Of course.
But we just didn't have that available to us.
Sure.
But the aberrant behavior is tempting and always available in some form for people. I enjoyed the college experience, but not for social reasons. I was invited to join a fraternity, and I decided not to. I was honored to be invited, but I decided not to because I was working almost full time. I made a lot of my money, my walking around money. And it seemed to me not ideal I just didn't want to be in the fraternity. I didn't see the benefits of it. Okay. The college experience, is it worth it? I don't know. I didn't pay my own tuition. My tuition was paid for me. So I don't really have the feeling of out of pocket, but hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars per semester. Is it worth it? I would almost flinch and say no.
Yeah.
It's not really worth that. Academically, college as a prereq to a profession like medical school or law school, that's required. You have to go. And you can take biochemistry and all the other prereqs that are necessary for medical school, and that's what you want to be, a doctor,
that's
a
not
physician.
A thing that they'll allow you to just find on YouTube and say, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos of neurosurgeons.
Yes, so who can't do this?
Exactly.
What's there to it? Yeah. So the summary of that, in my mind, is that yes, it's important to go to college if you want the college experience, and that means the positive part of the social interaction. If you want the development of the ability to think clearly and observe clearly, so that you can be guided in how to see things in other people, in the environment, in social situations. All those skills need to be honed somewhere. And I think that it's possible. I know that it's possible to derive those benefits from college and from being on the campus and interacting with people of like mind.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what about trade schools instead? Are there any careers that are available? And the answer to that is a stunning number of careers that are available. One that comes to mind right away is commercial airline pilot. They don't need to have a college education. It's not required.
That's right.
And they start out, I've looked this up before, they start out at, for the right seat pilot, the first officer, $80,000 to $100,000 a year with the training. But when they grow and are promoted to captain, and depending on the size of the airlines, that can be $300,000 to $400,000 a year.
It's a lot.
And that's more than most college graduates find themselves walking into.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
there are a number of jobs in healthcare that do not require a college education.
Yeah.
Sonogram technologist. I don't know why that came to mind,
Sure,
except
no,
I
yeah.
have a friend who became that, and he's doing very well financially.
Hospitals have an entire layer of employees
They
that
do.
that are logistical and that are paperwork and that are bookkeeping and that are financial that keep the
Administration,
place
yep.
running, right? But they never touch patients. They never touch medicine, per
That's
se.
right.
Yeah.
Well, the sonogram technologist touches patients.
Well, that's true.
And
Yeah,
there
yeah.
are those who do that
Yeah.
type of thing. Okay, so there's that whole area of medicine and healthcare. There's also construction. General contractors do not require a college degree, or you don't have to have a college degree to be one.
Sure.
And there are many who make a lot of money
Yeah.
in what they're doing. Another area is technology, and that's your area.
Yeah.
But people who work with technology and the fixing of things and the innovation and the development of new things and so forth, none of that requires a college degree.
A lot of that can be self-taught. Yeah.
It is, or taught with from other people.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, and I would agree with this if so, is the fundamental direct answer to this question, is college worth it? Depends a lot. It's going to be a case-by-case basis per listener, per person. Depends a lot on what do you want to be when you grow up? That old fundamental question that we ask every child all the time.
Cowboy and fireman.
Exactly. Yeah. When I was a kid, this has stuck around with me because it's just been a funny answer. But when I was a little kid, probably like 3 or 4, I once said that I was going to be a singing gardener. I have no idea why or what that necessarily would look like as a business model. But anyway.
On a roof in Manhattan?
Yeah, who knows? But anyway, the fundamental answer to the original question depends on what you want to be when you grow up. There are some jobs that absolutely require a college degree, and for good reason.
Yes.
And that can make your decision right there. To me, the other hand of it is that if you want what we call the college experience, if that is important to you, if you want to take 2, 3, 4, 5 years living in what is essentially a micro-sized, self-sustaining community that you just get to be with like-minded peers, your age. You have rampant mentors all around you, resources of all kinds in the form of different buildings, different experiences to travel, with different programs that they might offer.
Go for it.
That whole experience is crazy in the grand scheme of life. I'm in my 30s now. There's no possibility for that kind of thing to come up in my life
again.
Right. So if that is important, if that is enticing, and if that sounds like it would be either fun or beneficial to your life, then jump on that opportunity when you are 18 or 20 years old, because that's not really going to be a thing later on unless you can really finagle your way back somehow into a similar-ish situation.
There are some people who want to go to college to play sports because it's a
That's also
stair-step
another
to
one, yeah.
professional sports,
It's also
which
true.
doesn't require a college degree.
Yeah.
However, I don't know that I know what I'm talking about here, but
Sure.
I think most scouts for professional sports teams look at colleges and who's playing the sport in the college. So there are people who go for that.
Yeah.
But in order to get into MLB or the NFL, you almost have to be a genetic freak.
Yeah.
Most people don't get there.
That is absolutely true. I could speak more to Major League Baseball, for example. There are scouts that will travel to high school to see high school students. I've seen scouts at our games.
I'm aware of that.
And for Major League Baseball, okay, you've got 20 or you've got 25 man rosters, you've got 30 teams. That's only 700 and something humans on Earth that get to be an active MLB player at any given time. Genetic freak is an understatement. You have to be a genetic freak, and you have to win the lottery.
Enormous skills.
And you have to get seen, and you've got to put in the effort, and ad nauseum. Yeah. So college is important for that. There are plenty of MLB players that get drafted out of high school. There are plenty of MLB players that are signed as international free agents when they're like 14 years old, and then they come over and when they're 20. Anyway,
one profession that comes to my mind because it is aircraft mechanic. Now that comes to my mind because when I was interpreting ASL in English, I interpreted a visit to an aircraft mechanic school where they teach people. I was amazed at the skills that are required. I mean, somebody has to change the tires on a 747. You don't get that guy right off the street.
Yeah.
And when
amazing.
The aircraft mechanics are brought into the profession, they make good money.
Yeah.
Now, how much money do they make now? I don't know, but I would tell anybody who is interested in listening, this stuff can all be searched on the internet.
Yeah.
Just Google or Bing or whatever it is you do, and search jobs that do not require college, and you'll be up most of the night reading the list of all the jobs. Okay, the question was, is it important for me to go? Yes and no. I don't know. Who are you? And what are your desires? And what are your expectations of college? Well, you can't really know clearly what your expectations of college, if they will be fulfilled from the not having been there.
Yep.
But there are a lot of people who have been there. Talk to them. Ask them questions. You can there are career counselors. I respect highly academic counselors in schools and so forth, but some of them, most maybe, do not know about career counseling.
Sure.
And those people are available in the community colleges. Yes. And you can and it's community, and you're part of the community, so go in. You don't have to pay for it. You just sit down and you talk to these people. That's what they do all day long.
Yeah.
So research that. Maybe the answer, expected answer from a college graduate, as you and I are, graduates, as you and I are.
It's true.
The expected answer is, oh, yes, it's absolutely crucial to go to college, but I'm sitting here saying, no, it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not.
It's not. It depends on what you want.
It depends
on what you value. It depends.
I mean, you can go I don't know if I'm going to offend people here. I don't really care. But you could be very interested in reading and want to study British literature. So you go and you get a degree in Brit Lit. Now, what do you do with that?
Sure.
You could line your canary cage with that degree. There's not really going to be a lot that you can dive in, except go teach Brit Lit to other people who aren't going to be able to do anything with it, except enjoy the literature.
Exactly.
Now, we have a literature teacher here at CVCS who is very, very good at what he does. Mm-hmm. And he told me privately one time, when I was talking to him about having to read something and go in there and analyze it and answer questions and defend your thoughts about it and so forth, he said, analyzing a piece of literature will suck the life out of it.
Yep.
And that's absolutely true. After I got through with English, I have a minor in English, and when I got through with all that stuff, I started reading some of the classics just for pleasure and curiosity. And wow, this is kind of good.
Yeah,
and I don't have to explain to anybody how was the protagonist toilet trained.
Exactly. I had the same experience. I hated reading throughout school, even through high school. Was just English was my least favorite class. I was fine at it. I'm good at writing. I'm good at, that kind of stuff. But it was made so arduous. And it wasn't until really adulthood that I picked up a book and enjoyed it. And, that's a thing that I can regularly do now is kind of a big blessing. But I spent a good 20 years of my life calling myself, I am not a reader. I don't read books. I don't like books. And that's just like...
Was that because of the college experience of
Not
having...
college. It mostly like junior high school,
Interesting.
Being assigned novels.
Oh, the assigned reading is never fun.
Yeah.
No.
Just that was my only, that's what I thought reading was.
No, that's just a task to get done.
Exactly.
That's my opinion. That's not going to be the opinion of a lot of people.
I agree with that opinion.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, let's wrap this thing up.
Does that answer that question?
I think so. I think we've done a very good job.
Yeah.
It depends on the person. It depends on what you want out of life in a multitude of ways. It depends on what you want to do when you grow up, and it depends on how you want to spend sort of your last adolescent formative years. Do you want to jump straight into a workforce and get experience, or do you want to still spend some time with people your age, partying or playing video games late into the night, but ultimately having a communal experience?
Well, one can become an aircraft mechanic.
Yes.
And get into that career and start to sustain yourself financially, and then still hone and develop critical thinking skills.
That's right.
Just go after it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be spoon-fed to you. But that's, to me, not the best way to educate people anyway.
That's right.
Just dig in and go get it.
Absolutely. I love it. Let's hop to our second segment. Our second segment is always, we call it the Surprise Jim segment. This is always a question that he does not know ahead of time, and it's something super fun or kind of off the wall or just unexpected. So, Jim, here it is for this morning.
Okay, I'm braced.
What is a question in life, like big picture life in the world, whatever, that you would love to have an answer to?
Oh, whoa. A big question in life. Does that mean one popularly wondered about or asked, or?
Sure. You could, it could be a question about.
Well, one of the questions
existential,
is why am I even here?
Yeah.
Well, what's the purpose of all this?
Yeah.
What are we? And if it's not that I would love to have the answer to that, I do have the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
And those of us who have thought and explored that, we know why we're here.
Yeah.
We have a foundation and a standard. We are created in the image of God, and we are created for His pleasure to reflect His glory. How do we do that? I don't want to go into all those purposes now, but there are 5 of them, and they're in the Great Commandment and the Great Commission, and they're not 4 only, and there are not 6. There are 5, and those can be explored and learned. That answers that question. And if you want an in-depth explanation of all that, then read Rick Warren's book, The Purpose-Driven Life.
There you go. Yeah.
And that will give you all of that. Other big questions, why am I personally here? What happened? And what am I going to be here? The other examination of this question that is not biblically based, is not told to us to the revealed will of God in His Word is, well, I don't know. I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist, and therefore my ancestors were bacteria that developed into fish, into chimps, and now here I am, and it's just a collaboration of accidental bumping of molecules into one another. It's all materialistic. Yeah. And, if that's the case, and there are many arguments in the apologetics field about it, but if that's the case, why is there anything? Yeah. Well, how did all this happen? Did it come from nothing?
Sure.
No, it always existed. Well, no, not really, because and there are 5 arguments for that. The first is the second law of thermodynamics, that the universe is getting bigger, but the sun is getting smaller and smaller, and the heat is dispersed, and that would not happen if That would not happen if the world is eternal and it's always been here. Okay, we get off on all these, but I guess another question people, who should I marry?
That's a
You go, how do you pick that one?
Yeah.
Or is there one person out there that God wants me to marry? And the answer to that is no. No, we're given the capacity to love everyone.
Sure.
So go for for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember teaching Bible at my old school, and we had a senior it was like ethics worldviews class, and there was a unit that we had that was all about like relationships and stuff, and it would come up so often for some reason, this idea of like people, the students like really believing in that notion that they must have like one soulmate out there somewhere.
Yeah, that's
that they
false.
have to like find. And I'm like, that's not.
No.
Like, where do you get that?
No.
Like,
No. It's a widow in Norway. How am I going to bump into this person?
Like, statistically speaking, it's probably like someone living in China or India, and it's like, how do you go about?
Well, that concept is absurd, and
yeah, of course,
we have the capacity to love. We are given the capacity to love everyone.
Yeah.
We're not skilled enough to just, anyone would be fine. We have,
of course,
we look at people and say, no, you're not going to be it.
Yeah.
This isn't going to work.
But you are compatible with potentially many different people.
Exactly.
And you kind of run into one of them.
Well, think anybody who's listening, think of your group of friends. Did you have them all people line up against a wall and you pick them by characteristic? Probably not. No. And do you like these people? Do you enjoy them? Are you committed to the friendship with them? And the answer is probably yes to some degree, and no, they don't have. I didn't design the characteristics for the highest quality friends.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is a big old question. We've taken it already in a few directions. I'm drawn into what are like the biggest, most existential questions that we could throw at the universe. I think you've nailed some of the biggest ones. Is like, where does this all come from? Why am I here? What is this all about? Mm-hmm. Like you said, we as Christians, like we kind of believe that we have the answer to that. Already.
Oh, I'm certain we do.
Yeah. Anyway, this is all just a fascinating existential experiment with this question.
Well, we took it from the big question of what's the purpose of life to who's the person I'm supposed to marry.
Relatively a much smaller question.
Or what kind of dog should I adopt?
Yeah.
This is mind-boggling.
Of course,
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe let's wrap this up here.
Okay.
This has been another episode of Brewing with Jim, and we always want to end our episodes with an invitation extended to you, our audience, that you can reach out to us. You can email us at brewingwithjim@gmail.com. It is there that we get all of our questions and that we hear notes and feedback from you, our listeners. And so if you want to reach out to us, we highly encourage that. Again, it's brewingwithjim@gmail.com.
Something you don't have to do but would be appreciated here is if you send a question in, tell us a little bit about the reason you're asking it.
Yeah.
And then that will help us direct the answer.
That is very true, yeah. So with that, friends, that's another episode in the books. Thank you for listening, and have a good week.
Bye, everybody.
The topics that are covered and the answers that are offered during episodes of Brewing with Jim are designed to mine the wisdom attained from a life of pastoral ministry and care. They do not constitute professional or clinical training or expertise in the areas of counseling or mental health. CVCS and its podcast network want to provide a platform for the discipleship of our community. Brewing with Jim is our attempt to foster that environment in a format that is accessible for everyone to participate in. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed during the show are the speaker's own, and they may or may not represent the views, thoughts, or opinions of Capistrano Valley Christian Schools or its faculty. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. Capistrano Valley Christian Schools is a Christian JK through 12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Be sure to check out, subscribe to, and leave a review of this show and the other shows on our network on your podcast player of choice. Doing so supports the school community in a multitude of ways. For more information about the CVCS Podcast Network or any of our other shows, check out cvcs.org or email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the whole network, this is Mr. Jasper saying thank you again for listening and stay tuned for more.